Alright guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. So in this video, I want to give you a 2-week review, or kind of I call them mini reviews because I'm going to circle back around to this at some point in the future. But I wanted to give you guys a follow up on this phone. I bought this phone about 2 weeks ago actually. I bought it 3 weeks ago, but it can't. Well, no, yeah, I bought it about 2 weeks ago and I got it in a couple days. But nonetheless, I've had it enough time now to have some kind of feeling about the phone and pass on the information to you. So let's start with the obvious, which is the display. Now, display, I got the volume cranked the brightness cranked way up. And this is something that by request you guys started saying, Jay, you got to crank the brightness up. Let's see what it really looks like. So this is the brightness, and it really depends on the wallpaper that you have on there also. So I can go in and change the wallpaper to something else. There's tons to choose from, and I can also get them off the net too. Let's see here. Let's use this one. This is a bright one right here. Um, this display is a nice, bright, vivid display. It again, it's 1080p, 6.67 inches, or ultimately 6.7 inches, full screen with a little cutout at the top here for the camera, and I think that's saying something considering the price of this device. And this price of this device is $180 to $200, and I think that's a huge plus when you consider what I'm getting ready to go down for you in this video. So display, absolutely fantastic. Plays content well. Let me load up a video here. Let's see here. Let's go to my videos. And then we'll load up. Here we go. Has a single bottom firing speaker. So it's not the loudest speaker, but it's good enough for you. Yeah. So I'm turning the volume down. This is a very crisp display in person. I think if you view your content on here, and again, I'm starting with the display because this is what we see when we look at a device. I think this display is going to actually probably wow you a little bit because it's very bright. It's a very bright display. And I think it just looks very clean and crisp, especially if the person has a really good camera. If they're recording with something that's going to give you high quality footage, you're probably going to really enjoy watching media content on this device. Netflix, all of that, not just YouTube, Netflix, it all looks fantastic on this display. I'm not just saying that. I'm speaking to a person who, can appreciate something that costs less than $200 and then it's also very, very clear. And ultimately that's what you're looking for, a clear display, crisp, clean screen, and you're going to get it with the Xiaomi Note 9s. I have no complaints about the display. I haven't had any kind of burn-ins, any kind of question you could think of to ask me if I had a problem with the display. The answer is no problems, period. There's none. Now, the next thing that we notice about a device is the software. Now, this is Xiaomi Skin. I actually have a skin on here. I want not skin, but a theme. You can theme the device by going to your themes. You can download more themes. Let's go ahead and put this one on. This is Limitless. This is one of their default themes. And you can theme the phone how you see fit. You can change the icon packs. You could do all kinds of things with these themes. I even put like a little pixel theme on here at one point, right here. So you can just make it look how you want it to look. And the great part about the software for Xiaomi is it's an Android phone. So if you want to change it to a different launcher, you very well can. But the Xiaomi device itself, it will give you the opportunity to not go outside of the realm and put something on the phone and flat out just use what they have. And this is something that Samsung does. This is something that LG does. Lots of OEMs do this. It's not anything that's brand new. So when it comes to the software, there's always some people that are indifferent about thinking that something's going to get an update. I think those people probably have not really used a Xiaomi device because Xiaomi updates their phones. This phone is in fact on the May security patch, and it's on. Let me see if I can show it to you here without exposing too much. Let's see here. I'll go into. Let's see if I can just do it right here. and then go to about the log here. Let's show, let's see here. See if I can show you. Well, let me get into about and then go to the phone itself and try to get to the status here. Sorry for delaying this. Oh, here we go. Well, it's not showing the IMEI. So it's on the May security patch, and it's on Android 10. So that's important. And I've got Xiaomi phones that are 3 and 4 years old. They're on the May patch. That's the incredible part. So, and while they might not be on Android 10, they're still supporting these devices. Apple isn't the only company that supports devices longer than 2 years and 3 years. There are plenty of OEMs that do it. Xiaomi is one of them. They definitely have this phone on the latest patch, and it'll probably get, and I'm speaking to people who this is important. I don't focus on this, but these are your questions answered ultimately about Xiaomi from my perspective. A lot of people ask about, is it going to get a software update? Is it going to get support? Xiaomi has always updated their devices. They update their phones, and so that's something that you should consider. It doesn't have bad software, and it gets an update. What more do you want? So, and let's go over to performance, because this has a Snapdragon 720G inside. So you're going to get fairly decent performance. I mean, it's not bad performance at all, and it performs and the reason I go straight to social media is because this is what people do. You guys just get on, most of the people today just get on YouTube, Instagram, the TikTok thing, all those social media apps. That's what you guys do, and this phone does it well. It does nothing wrong with that. I don't have any crashes with it. I haven't had any problems with the software at all. So those are going to ask that question. Well, does it heat up? Nothing. It doesn't happen. There's no heating issues with this phone when charging. There's no heating issues when running an app for a long time, gaming or whatever. There's no problems with the software right now. And if there is a problem, I'll update you later on. So that's that. And to push this, you got a 5,020 milliamp hour battery. So the battery life is something that I was kind of surprised at. I'm not getting like 12 hours of screen on time, even though it has this huge battery in here. But optimization is key, and that's something that you should consider. All phones can't do it. Just because it has a huge battery, everybody's not going to get 10, 12 hours, 14, 16 hours of screen on time. Right now, the reigning champ of battery life in this house is the Moto G Power, grabbing almost 17 hours of screen on time with almost 72 hours of use at that in those particular instances. And then if I go above that, I get at least 4 to 5 days with about 10 hours of screen on time. This phone is ridiculous, man. If you're a battery hog, you want to get the Moto G Power because it's optimized obviously correctly. It's optimized to give you the best battery performance, and that's not with like battery savers and things on. Now, when it comes to this device, I do have an ultra power saving mode where I probably could get a very long time out of this battery, like 4, 5, 6 days, and still get good screen on time. But I don't like to do that. Only time if I turn on power saving mode is when I'm going to sleep. That's the only time. That's a good battery tip for you guys. Put on ultra power saving mode while you're sleeping if you have that option, and when you get up in the morning, turn it off. You're going to see that your battery might have dropped 0.5% or maybe 1%. But this device, I don't need to do that. It has good standby time, but the screen on time is lower than I expected. And again, hear me out. I'm still getting 8 to 10 hours of screen on time. However, I thought I would be banging out well past 10 because this is really good software. It's no issues. It's got a good processor, and it has a big battery. But battery life depends on the user itself. So no one is going to get the same battery life. There's somebody out there getting that 12 hours of screen on time with this phone right here. And if you are that person, leave a comment down below because I want to know. So, battery life is good. The performance is great. Now let's talk about hardware. Hardware is something that is, either you love it or you hate it. You like it, it's your style, or it's not your style. Now, hardware on this thing, it has definitely got good hardware. It's got Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and the back, but it has a plastic frame. And that's not a good or a bad thing. There's not a lot of $200 phones out there or less that have Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and the back. some people would say, it's a plastic frame. Who cares, man? Why do you have to dig so deep to pick something apart that you're just going to be using as a phone? People get a little too technical, in my opinion, but that's them. It's their money, so you can be as technical as you can if you want to. But this phone does have a splash-proof rating. That is what Xiaomi listed as. The hardware, the screen is HDR10 certified. It can go up to 450 nits of brightness. The frame and everything, you can't really tell that it's plastic. Once you get it, it's going to feel, these OEMs have gotten so good, you can't even tell that something is not plastic. So you've got your Type-C, you've got a headphone jack, a speaker out down there, the microphone on the top, you've got that IR blaster that they're known for, and you've got another microphone up there. Now your fingerprint reader is in the power button, which is something that I really appreciate, and you've got a volume rocker there. So this obviously the killer part of this phone is the camera setup on the back. It looks kind of crazy. You got this quad camera setup. The quad camera setup thing is something that companies are doing this for some reason, and I think Google is still the king of cameras. Shout out to Team Pixel. Google is just the king of cameras when it comes to still shots, and I believe they're going to take over for video too once they get their things together. But 48 megapixel main shooter at f1.8, 8 megapixel ultra wide, and the main shooter is a wide camera too. Dual pixel autofocus on the main camera, 5 megapixel macro, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. This does shoot in 4K or 1080p up to 120 frames per second, and 720p at 960 frames per second. So you really got to think about this. Now, how many phones that that you're paying $600-700 for, and they do the same thing? Think about that. Pause for the cause. And then you've got a wide-angle camera on the front at 16 megapixel. I like that all the companies and also the front and rear are HDR certified. Or they're HDR, I should say, not certified. But you've got a lot of companies out there that are doing it right. And because of the laws of the land at the moment, they're not allowed to shine over here in the U.S. because of fear. It's just fear. So the cameras on here, I've reviewed these cameras, and I can tell you is that they're phenomenal, man. They're punching way above their weight class, way above. They do great, and that's all I have to say about that. I mean, there's not much I need to harp on with that. Overall, the experience with this device is what you're really looking for. You probably don't care much about how I like the cameras. You don't care much about how I think the phone looks. You really are just here for information, and I can give it to you. And I can tell you that at this point in the game, hit that link in the description and buy this phone. If you're in the market for a phone, don't just buy it just to buy it. If you're in the market for a good, solid phone that works in the U.S., you've got band 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 20, 28, 38, 40, and you've got 42. I mean, it's just a good, solid phone. We ultimately need band 2 or band 4 for the phones to operate in the U.S., and that's what it's about. So this is the Xiaomi Redmi Note 9S. The naming convention, how they do these, I have no idea. Personally, I don't care. I just think it's a hot device, and it's well worth $189. What I paid is roughly between $180 and $200. That's the selling price on this. So if you start to get into someone trying to sell it to you for $290, $250 or above, yeah, kind of just make sure it's legit, because there is a 6 gig, 128 gig model, and you just want to make sure you're getting what you're getting. That's about all I can tell you. Everything is great on here. I just don't have an issue with this device. Nothing, folks. Nothing whatsoever. I'm happy with it, and I think you'll be happy with it too. I love the full screen display. I love everything about it. It's a solid phone, and I like that it has the dark theme. I just like it. It's really, really solid. So there it is. It's your man Jay. This is the Xiaomi Redmi Note 9S. This is a follow-up video for you. Stay tuned for more content, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.